Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Kim here, and today I'm doing a Beebeecraft tutorial. Beebeecraft is a seller online that sells all kinds of wonderful supplies, beads, jewelry making supplies, junk journal supplies, charms, braided trims, all kinds of fun lace trims, all kinds of wonderful things. And this video is, of course, a paid video in the sense that I get free product from Beebeecraft to showcase and show you how I work with it. If you want to become a YouTube affiliate, as I am, then you can contact Beebeecraft. They're very fun to work with, very easy to work with, and as long as you have a YouTube channel that has a minimum of 100 subscribers, they will set you up and get you started to start doing videos for them. And the fun part about it is, one, you get free product to work with, which is nice. And number two, when you're demonstrating for Beebeecraft, of course, you're going to put the hashtag Beebeecraft in your description, and other people will be searching for Beebeecraft. I search for Beebeecraft to see different things that people are making with their products. And so it will get your channel more recognition as well. So it's a win-win for you as far as subscribers and getting free product. It's also great for our YouTube followers and subscribers because they see things that we make, and we have our own creative spin on things, which is fun, and it inspires them to also create. And then if they do shop on your channel, they will get through your channel, they'll get a 10% discount on the products. So any products that I use today, I will have a link in my description box below, and if you click on it, yes, if you go to their site, if you're a first timer, you get 10% off your entire order. So it's a win-win for everybody, and again, it's just a great way to play with some new products and see different things that we're working with. So today I'm working with their ribbon crimps, and I've got them here. There's 5 different colors in this package that I'm working with. They come with a kind of a gunmetal silver, a light silver, gold, copper, and the antique gold. Yeah, here it is. Here's the antique gold. I hope you can see the different colors. So there's 5 different colors in the package, and they give you, in this particular package, they have smaller packages as well. But in this particular package, it's 200 grams, which is approximately 345 pieces. Now, I've already shared some of these with Jen and Deb. So Jen and Deb, yours is on your way if you haven't seen this video, or maybe you already have them by now. But there's 345 in this package. And in Canadian dollars, it was $12.62. US dollars, it's $8.69, and that's a lot. They do have smaller packages and smaller combinations of colors, so do check out their site if you're looking to get these. Now, these are 3/4 of an inch wide. Again, they have wider ones, smaller ones. It depends on what you want. I kind of felt that this would be a good size for many different items that I'm going to be using it with. And here's some that I've made using a combination of paper and some fabric underneath here, and some wired ribbon that I've had in my stash, and some other glittery ribbon, lace trim that I had. And you can see the crimp is up at the top. So easy enough to add a ball pin and pin this into your journal. It can be a decorative element off of a tab, or on the page itself, would be very pretty, or even on your cover. There's a number of uses here. Not only, now I've mixed this with fabrics and papers, but you can do all paper, you could do all fabric, you could do ribbons. It's endless. Now, this paper that I used, see, I had a piece of scrapbook paper, and I was determined to cut it up and use the whole thing, which you'll see today. And So this is about 1.5 inches wide. So you can see that the clip is fine at the top. It looks really nice. You could round corner these edges or use your decorative punches, but I kind of like them just the way they are. I thought of maybe adding some flowers on top. I don't have the right kind of flower here to show you, but you know, I could stitch a flower on here and put a gem in the center to make this even more decorative. I don't know if there's any. Oh, I've got like a little yo-yo here. So you could do a bunch of little flowers or buttons or beads or sequins, which is what I've done on these ones. Now this one, isn't that gorgeous? Is a piece of this ribbon that I also got from Beebeecraft. No, wrong color. It is this one. And all I did was I added some sequins into here and then put the clip at the top, and it is ready to attach to something. It's just a piece of ribbon, but it's a beautiful piece of ribbon. So what a gorgeous decoration that is. And you can do, of course, any length. So I made this one a little bit longer, and this is the blue one, which is the one I first showed you here. And here I just put 3 sequins down the center, fringe the edge a little bit more. I hope you can see that. And these are good to go. I'm excited to use these in my journals. So the ribbon I'm using comes also from Beebeecraft, and there are 4 different colors in this group. And you get all 4 of these colors. Now it's 15 yards in total. So it's about, well, it's at least 4, it's about 4 yards, not quite, 3.75 yards each bundle. And so you get all 4 of these. In Canadian dollars, it's $6.69 for all of this ribbon. In American dollars, $4.61. Now, it's going to change depending on the interest rates or the exchange rates, of course. But what a great deal. Even at the $6.69 value for Canada, that's like under $2 for each one of these ribbons. You would never find that much beautiful ribbon, braided trim like this for that price anywhere, I don't think, except for Beebeecraft. So well worth it to invest in these ribbons, and the colors are just so gorgeous. Very easy to just play with it like that. And in this case, I'm going to do just show you how I added the sequins on the top. Very simple idea to do, and so effective as far as creating extra color on here and extra interest. You could glue some gems down. You can glue, do some beadwork. You could really follow the patterns in each of these ribbons, because the patterns are just so gorgeous, and add more intricate beadwork into there. Lots of fun things that you can do to enhance these. So we'll have a little play with that too. It's just a little video to show you the different things that I did with them. So I have a piece of fabric here, and I had pre-cut because I was determined to use that whole strip of paper. So I won't make them all on camera because there's 5 here to do, but I will certainly make one for you. And all I did was I took this fabric and I just cut it into about thirds, not really measuring that closely, and tore the edge. And just pull the loose threads out a little bit here. Now I could have fringed it on both sides, but it really didn't matter. I'm not showing both sides of this. And I just took my fabric or paper that I wanted to use as a background. It was really just to give it a little bit more stability for, depending on where I might want to put this. And so I just have that laying down, and then I took a piece of gold ribbon. Now this is how I cut it, right in half down the center. So I just kind of loosely measured. And like I said, you can layer this with all different types of things. And then I just eyeballed it and cut it in half. So since I'm going to be making lots of these, I'll just put that all aside together. I won't do them on camera, don't worry. And then I just kind of lay that on top. just overlapping a little bit. I do want to see the butterfly that's in this print, so I just laid it over top, overlaid over top. And then I have this piece of lace that has these beautiful gems right in the, glued right onto the fabric. So I thought I would take a little piece of this. And this is just an offcut from, I think it was a sleeve of a dress. And I'm just going to straighten this out so it's not so shabby, although you could leave it shabby. So you can use lace and ribbon. And then just laid it down on top, just like that. Now you can glue all this stuff down ahead of time so that it's not moving around on you. And I think I'm just going to take my glue gun and just tack it down just a little bit. So I'm just going to lift the layers. It just makes it easier on camera. And lay that down. Oop, moved it. Now, Brenda Clark also did a play on working with these crimps, so you'll have to check out her channel if you have a chance. Brenda is one of my channels of inspiration that I always talk about and show on my channel description. And then there's enough glue seeping through there that I'm just going to slide that right there. It's just enough to tack it in place. It's not to glue it down completely. I do like some movement, and I like you to be able to lift the layers and see what's underneath what you're looking at. But for doing this crimping so that I can hold it upright, I've just tacked it down with a little bit of glue. And then it's pick a color. I'm just going to use the antique gold. And again, it's one of those things. Now there's a little bit sticking up here. I'm just going to trim that off. I like a nice clean edge there. It's one of those things I eyeball. Some people measure. I just lay this down over top. Now these little crimps have teeth in them. I'll just show you like closer so you can see. And I just lay it over top, kind of centering it with my eyes to see where I wanted it to sit. Now, because I'm going to be using another tool, where's my glue sticks? Got a glue. Okay. Because I'm going to be holding this and using a tool to crimp it, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here and then rest this over the glue so it just kind of catches it and holds it in place. I wouldn't recommend gluing these with hot glue, but it's just enough to hold it in place so it's not going to move. And the tool I'm using to do this is just a pair of pliers that are flat. They don't have any ridges in them at all. But when you look at these crimps in particular up close, they have these little, I hope you can see that in the video, little tiny dots in them. So I think that's kind of a nice way to hide if you have a pair of pliers that has these ridges. But if you look at your pliers, there's a good chance you do have a flat part closer to the inside of your pliers. So check for that as well. But I think if you don't, and if you only have a pair of pliers with the ridges, just be mindful of how much pressure you're putting on so that you don't scratch them. But I think you could use this part and it won't show as much with the little decorations on here. But just to show you, I'm going to use the far end of the pliers here, although I could use the other ones. I'm just going to use the far end of the pliers because this is short anyway, and I'm just going to gently push this down into the paper and into the fabric, and I'm going to do that from both sides. And what this does is the little teeth grab a hold, and I'm just being very gentle because I don't want to bend it out of shape. The little teeth grab and hold onto your paper, so that is not coming off now. And You know how I know that this is in there well is when I had made a mistake and I hadn't lined it up very good. It was crooked. And so I went to take it off, and it was, it was doable, but it took a little bit of prying. I had to use a little flat a pair of old scissors to get underneath there and kind of lift it, but I was able to get it off to replace it, which is why now I use a little bit of hot glue to hold it in place. And you could do that with your wet glue as well. The only thing is it takes a little bit longer for it to dry. So I would just put a little dot of your white glue or your fabric tack, whatever you have, and just lay this on there and then let it dry first before you try to press it into place. But you can see how easy this is to make, and it's endless of the things that you can do on here. I can use a piece of paper, decorate it and collage it. I can have beads hanging down from here. I can run a set of small holes across here and do some beading on the bottoms. I can further enhance this with dimensional decorations depending on where I want to put it in my journal. But I like the idea that these are nice and flat and using up some scrappy bits, and look how gorgeous this looks. Easy to attach to your projects with a bulb pin, and then you can use that same bulb pin to dangle some beads if you want, or add them on as a little extras by hole punching and adding them on separately. But love this. So now I'm going to show you. So I plan to make up all of these off camera so that I have a good stash of them and use up both this piece of paper and some of these pieces of fabric that I have kicking around. So it's a win-win. Already I've got 4 of them and I'm loving them, so they will go right into my stash to use for other projects. And they're quite pretty and very, very simple. You saw how simple it was to make these. Anything goes. So on this next one, I'm going to use the red trim this time. And this is again from Beebeecraft. Beautiful trim. I want to keep at least, I want a nice long one, like I've made this one long. This one's a little bit shorter. So I'm going to keep 3 of these designs that are in here and cut it about halfway through this one. So just taking my scissors, I'm going to just trim it straight across. Now, when I go to do the next one, this will become the top, and I will cut it here so that it doesn't interfere with the 3 designs again if I'm going to use it, or I can cut it below the second one and just have the 2 designs. Because I want to fray the edges of this. Now this was the very start of the roll, so it's got a long ending piece here. I'm just going to trim it down a little bit. And then if you just pull lightly with your fingers, you can get this to come off. Here we go. And you can also use a pokey tool or even a little needle. I'm just going to take I have my seam ripper here. I'm just going to pull the threads out because I want a little bit of a fringe. Because I did take off extra here so that I could pull these off. And some ribbons fray really easy. Some you have to do a little bit more work, like I'm doing here. But I wanted to use the red because I have some red sequins I wanted to add on to this. And I'm just going to pull that one and that one. There we go. So that just gives it a nice little fringy bottom at the end. And I see that this is not quite straight. If you look at it, I've got a little bit of a curve there, so I'm just going to straighten it up a little bit. And I'm going to take off a couple of layers up here, just so that I know I have a nice straight edge to work with. And I'm just pulling it because it's a little bit wonky here. There we go. So the only thing I want to do now is I want to decorate my little pieces before I put my clamp on. And I'm going to just bead in the center of all three of these. But like I said, you can get super fancy with this by gluing gems, adding all kinds of intricate beadwork onto here. But I'm going to keep these quite flat to use inside of a journal. So I've got some red sequins here that I'm going to add on to these centers, which is just gorgeous. And then I've got some gold ones that I'm going to lay over top for now, just to show you how they look, or just to have them all ready. I will take them off in a second. Oops, stuck to my finger. And then I have some very small teal blue ones in this baggie. I got these from Jen. Thank you, Jen. I'm loving these. These are the little blue ones. Now, it'll be impossible for me to lay them on top straight to show you, but I'm going to put one on top just so you can see. So I'm adding the 3 sequins, one on top of each other stacked. Now I'm going to take all of these off because we're only going to work with one. So I'm using the 3 sequins, and then somewhere on this table I had already taken some beads out of my baggie. I thought I did. Oh well, I'll take some more out. They're probably buried here somewhere on the table. I always take an extra one out because for sure if I only count out 3 and close, oh here's my beads. If I count out 3 and close up the bag, then for sure one will end up on the floor and I'll be short. And I have my thread already threaded on the needle and knotted, and I'm just going to trim that a little close. And then bringing my thread up from the back side, I want to try to hit the center of this design. So okay, that came up really nicely. And then I'm going to take my red sequin on my needle, put that one down first, then the gold, and then the blue one, the teal blue, and then slide those down. And then I'm going to use the bead, and first I'm going to string it on. Oop, catching on the scissors here. And then I'm going to go back through all those sequins, so the bead will be used kind of as a stopper to hold these on. So I'm going back through the sequins, being careful not to go through my thread again with the needle, because I don't want to split the thread. And I'm going to put the needle right back into the same spot where I came out from in the front, from when I came from the back, I mean. And then now you have to make sure, it's probably not a good idea to have this long of a thread when you're doing just one little project at a time. And then pulling it nice and tight so you can see, I hope you can see the difference in having that in the center. And then turning onto the back side, it's that simple. I'm just going to tie a knot. And then taking my scissors, buried in all this other stuff, I'm just going to trim the thread and tie another knot. And repeat the process. And the reason I do that is This way, if something breaks and you lose one sequin, because you know these things are in our journals and you know they could be subject to additional stress. So if one breaks, at least you're not going to lose all of the sequins at once. So I'm going to bring this up from the center. If I can find the center here. Here we go. Yeah. From the back, so my knots are all at the back, and they're pretty flat knots, so it's not like it's protruding too much. And then the same process, adding the 3 sequins, the red first, then the gold, and then the blue. Now the sequins, I'm sure you've all worked with sequins before, or you've seen sequins. These ones have sort of that little kind of a cuppy indent to them. So I'm putting with the indent up. Does that make sense? So this way it kind of acts like a little basket for each one of them, one on top of each other, and then it holds this one bead in the center, sort of in a little basket on the blue. Ow, just poked myself. So again, I've got the bead on here. I'm just going to go back through those sequins. I'm just going to move the bead out of the way and then go through the same hole that I came from the back before, and then pulling this gently and bringing all kinds of threads with me. And pulling it nice and tight. And then taking my needle and knotting this. So I just have to do it one more time. And if you don't have sequins and you want to get some nice assortments, Beebeecraft has fabulous sequins. I've gotten some really nice flower ones from them that will take me a lifetime to use them all up. They're so beautiful, but you get a lot for your money, a lot. These ones are not from them, but it's because I had some in my stash. But they do have this large, medium, and small type round sequined as well. I had bought the floral ones from them. I don't know if you remember them, but they're in my stash here. This is the floral ones. They came, I think, 10 different colors. So you got over 3,000. 3,000 of these in the package, which is a lot. Hopefully I can use them all in my lifetime. And just adding my 3 sequins here. And then my bead. I'm working on my table, but I have a folded up tablecloth here. It's really nice because it things don't roll around so much when you're doing a lot of beading. However, all these little bits, as you can see, gather up on my tablecloth. But I have, if you saw my last video where I was sharing that I bought a little vacuum, that thing is the best little thing ever. So if you have a chance to invest in one of those, do invest in a vacuum. It is just so handy to pick up all these little bits and pieces, and it stays charged for a long time. I've had it out now for over a week, and it is still fully charged, and whenever I want to use it to pick up bits and pieces. So again, I'm just going to turn this over on the back side and take my thread and knot it. Now, something else I like to do, and it's a personal thing, but once I've knotted the beads and they're all on here, I like to take a little bit of hot glue and just press those thread knots into place with my hot glue. Not very much. I'm not squirting it out like a big, I'm just putting a little bit of glue, whatever is on my, like right on the nozzle, that just holds those threads in place. You can do the exact same thing with your white glue, or your tacky glue, or even a glue stick. It's just to kind of make those, and I'm just pressing it a little bit, it just kind of makes the threads stick right to the whatever it is you stitch them onto, whatever your fabric is. And it just helps so that those threads don't get caught on anything. So here are my 3 sequins in here, in the 3 decorative centers. And like I said, I could go on and add gems and more beading and do all kinds of fun things right on here to further enhance this ribbon. This ribbon is gorgeous by itself, but when you start playing with the different little bits that you can add onto it, it just gets more and more amazing each time. I could run a whole set of beads up and down on either side, but I don't want to do it for the sake of the camera and for the time for this project. So again, I'm going to choose something that is complementary to the piece, and I seem to like the antique gold. That's kind of my favorite. So I'm just going to line it up first and see sort of where I want this to be. And for me, it's easy to tell because I can see it's between the lines of these two sides of the ribbon kind of are framing where this has to be. So I'm just going to turn this over from the back side. Now see, it looks a little bit crooked, doesn't it? I'm just going to straighten that out a little bit. There we go. And I'm just going to put a dot of glue, and that's, remember, just to hold it in place so that it doesn't move around on me. And I'm just kind of eyeballing where I want it to be. Now it's a little bit more, you know, you have to hold it a little bit more carefully when you're doing just fabric, because the fabric will flip around a little bit on you. And then taking my pliers, and I'm just going to use the regular, these are like a flat plier, but they're also like a crimp plier. And these you can get probably from Beebeecraft as well. I've never looked. I mean, I have my set, so I've never looked. Okay, just holding it in place. Just gently squishing the ends down into the fabric. Now it really grabs the fabric nicely because the teeth go right into the fabric so easy because it's kind of porous. And then once I have it on, I give it a really good squeeze. But not too much. You don't want to make an indent on it to make it look dented and flat, but there it is, now ready to add on to a project. A ball pin up at the top, those you can get at Beebeecraft as well, and I can use it just like that. The bead work is not protruding too much that it will interfere with your journal, but you can also do much flatter. You could use much smaller beads if you want, like little seed beads and all kinds of things, but I just love these just the way they are. This is ready to decorate on a journal for me, just like that. Simple, fast embellishments that are easy to make. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, they're so fun, so simple, and very inexpensive to make some really fun embellishments. Now, depending on what you choose, it could be just strips of fabric, it could be shabby bits of lace, ribbons, papers. You can make embellishments that nobody else has, because even though you all start out with these crimps, it's what comes out of your imagination. It comes out from your stash. It could be an old top that you took apart that you were going to send to the thrift shop, but the material's nice, so why not use that up to make some beautiful embellishments? No one else will have the very same embellishments. So again, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll consider making some and playing around and having some fun with it like I'm having. And that's it. That's all for today. Thank you so much to Beebeecraft for the opportunity to showcase your products and for the fun products that I get to work with and play with now. Have yourself a very creative day and a creative week, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Bye for now.